This is my project, 28 Quarantines Later, which is due to change the title. This is the version that I've called Small Fixes. Yes. So, I'll show you my project. This is the whole project here. So, we've got, in the blue here, we have the drum tracks. These ones, if I can just get together, yeah, these ones are the drum tracks, including this one, which is a kick trigger. I did have this track here, I'll show you the mixing desk. I did have this kick track channel, which I was using, but I wasn't very happy with it. I was using things like the channel strip EQ from UA Audio, the 610B. I've actually used two of them. I'll show them in comparison. This one's doing 9 decibels of 4.5K. This one's doing 3 decibels at 70. Yeah, so I've got a lot of bright end and had a little bit more lower end. This one's just adding a little bit more low end into it. And then I have things like the Magma Stress Box, which I'm using the expansion method. It's at 0.85, just to get rid of the bleed. And then I've got some EQ patterns here, just on the channel. But I wasn't very happy with that one. So I ended up going to one of my other projects, which I knew I did really like the kick track for, which was Pig Destroyer, MFA song. The one with the big Texas Beach monologue. I took that channel strip, named it Kick 2, put it here. So using the same kind of settings. So I've got things like the boom here, which works really well to add the sort of warmth and roundness of the kick. Things like also like the channel strip there. Also using the 8K plugin, which I purchased a little bit ago, which I love. It's a great plugin. Yeah, a bit more the Magma Stress Box. So I've got that. That's being run to 2 different buses, bus 10 and bus 14. So that's going to be this one here, which has just got some more expansion here, using the Magma Stress Box. More EQ from the 610B, 4.5 decibels of 10K, 9 decibels of 70, just to add that low end roundness of it. Warmth even, not roundness. Then the 8K plugin, just to get the higher end bits of it, to get the clickier sound that's found in a lot of extreme metal music. So that's that one there. Then I do also have this one, using more of this, which is taking away a lot of the low end, 9 decibels of the 200 hertz frequency. Then I'm adding the extreme 9 decibels of 4.5K. It's just so I can have the extra layer in a bus, so I can really get the high end clickier frequencies that you find in a lot of extreme metal music for the kicks. And then I got the 8K plugin here, which is adding that clickier sound again. The Magma Stress Box, just to reduce the bleed, because adding a lot of the higher frequencies are going to bring them back in, even if I've used an expander to get rid of it. So post the EQ, I'm getting rid of it with expansion at 0.62 ratio. I have a lot of bus tracks here. So I've got the 2 kick ones that I've talked about. I've got various snare ones. So this one's a sort of snare reverb thing, using a lot more expansion again, which is a common theme for me with buses. I'm favourable with this channel strip, or the 8K plugin again. Then I'm using slightly different external plugins, like this one's the LA2A tube compressor, also from UA Audio, just to really bring the snare alive. I wanted to compress it but not make it sound too squashed, so I've got a relatively low mid-range gain addition, then my reduction between 40 and 50. This does also really help bring a certain harmonic tone to the snare, which I really enjoy as well. Makes it sound punchier almost. Then I've got the reverb here, another UAD one. This one's bringing a lot of wetness to the track. I'll just play it on its own. Hope you can hear that on the video itself, but you know, if I play it with and then without. You know, it makes a big difference. It adds a lot of room to the snare as well. And I also have a dry track as well, just to add that crispy brightness to it. As you can see, there's no reverb. I'm using a lot more of the 610B, more of the compressor, the tube compressor. Lots of uses of the Magma Stress Box, expansion, 0.8, 0.65, and the 8K plugin as well. Then I've got the snare bright, which I just really wanted to make. I assume Dean is going to be listening to this, but this is what he said. Oh, it's that crisp packet sound to a snare. It just adds a lot more brightness back into the snare. I've used lots of extreme high-end EQing, 9 decibels at 4.5K. You know, I've got multiple 8K plugins here, 9.3, 5.7. Got another 610 here, maxed out 4.5K again, just really high and bright end. Then I've added a reverb to it, same as the sort of like a culmination of snare verb and snare dry, but much brighter. Then finally I have the one which I have named the snare crisp packet, because it is really stupidly ridiculously bright, and it's basically a more extreme version of the snare bright. I'll just play it here. If I take away the reverb here, I've added a lot, as you can see, I've added a lot of saturation and distortion. I mean, I've got 3 saturators right here. I have the JST analog spice circuit, which is really interesting. Just really bright and higher end, and adds a lot of that saturated, you know, high end bright noise. Followed it with the 8K, nearly maxed out 11.7. Then I've got some Chroma Glow here, which really gave it the crunchy tone that you can hear at the end. If I take away the reverb, which I will show in a second. Bypass below 120 frequencies, drive 69, nice. Mix all the way at 100. And then my EQ here, just bringing a lot more of the body of the snare back in at 9 decibels of 200 hertz. If I play it with and then without the reverb. Smoker's cough out of the way. Yeah, it's a big difference, I think. I have also brought in a guitar bus as well. I've gated this one because I've added a lot of brightness to it, and it's going to make it a lot more noticeable in the mix. So I've got my threshold down to 39, but I want to give it a reasonable attack at 20, but hold it for 150 milliseconds, because I don't want it to be cut immediately, because it will sound very sharp and kind of jagged. I want it to, you know, give it the right kind of attack to really make it sound more natural. Yes, then I'm again using the Magma Stress Box, but I'm using it in the compressor mode at 1.96 threshold ratio. To just make them sound bigger and fatter. I've then made use of a FET compressor as well. Input 30, output 18, 3 attack, in between 4 and 5 release, with a 8 ratio. It's helped almost glue the guitars together, because bearing in mind it's 2 double-tracked guitar tracks, one left and one right. Then again, I've got the 610, just add to high end and low range frequencies of 210k, which I think makes a difference. I do then have a bass bus as well, adding more gate, trying to do a similar sort of thing, but sharper than the guitars. The attack's at 8 milliseconds and holds for 40. It's because this is quite a saturated and driven bass track. It's quite a dirty sound to it, and it does tend to hum and buzz, which I have defeated in the actual bass track itself, but I wanted to make sure it's not so jagged in the bus, because of the brightness I'm adding, it would be more noticeable. I've used this compressor again, between the 30s and 40s for gain and peak reduction, bring that tone that tube compressor has as well, and then adding brightness using the 610B, 4.5 dB at 4.5k, then 1.5 dB at 100 hertz. I do also have a bus track for the sample used at the beginning of the song, running it through compression here with the Magma Stress box and the LA2A. Yes, that's his name. I do also have EQ here as well as a